Hello and welcome to the Freedom Planet Lilac tutorial for Sky Battalion. This is not one of my favorite stages. Other people like it, but I really don't care for it, and I'm certainly not the best at it as a result because I don't really enjoy practicing it. It conveniently comes in 3 sections, and you don't have to play the first 2 to reach the third, so you can practice it in thirds. You can practice it as 3 short stages, which is very convenient. There are a couple checkpoints within each of the ships. There is the metal ship, the fire ship, and the earth ship, and we do them left to right because that is the quickest order on the hub ship to go left to right, because the first button you want is near you, and each time you clear a ship you come back to the hub ship traveling faster than you would just from the start of the stage. So getting to the right is faster at that point. And conveniently, the third ship we do, the earth ship, contains the metal shield, which is extremely important for the boss. And as a result, doing that ship last means we don't have to traverse as much of the level and still keep the metal shield to use it on the boss, which is really handy. So first thing you want to do in the stage is just jump, do a max height jump, and tap to the right to make sure you land. Like you can land on here just barely with a max height jump without moving left or right, but if you move right slightly, you'll guarantee it, like that. And then you just jump left onto the button, and those are both max height jumps. Then when you get onto these ships, you're going to have 4 rockets, and you're standing on the top one, and they will make stairs down to the ship that you're attacking. What you want to do is wait for the next rocket to kind of slide out from under the rocket you're on, and then start a roll boost to the edge of that new rocket. So if you watch here, I wait until I think it's going to be the 3rd rocket, the one next to the one at the bottom, and I'll drop onto that one and roll boost. Like that. And that is a little bit tricky. When you start learning this stage, you're likely to fall. So if you'd rather make sure you're practicing everything about the stage, then I would wait a little bit longer than usual and then try to pull it back later. Like, try to cut it closer when you're more confident with it. When you're more confident that you know how the rockets are moving. It's pretty easy to fall here. Once you're on the ships, though, it's really easy. There's no pits or anything anywhere. So the first thing is we're gonna come across some pulse cannons or DNA cannons, and the fastest way, there's two ways around these. There's gonna be 2 platforms here. There's the first one right here that this guy is jumping on, and then there's a second one that this guy is jumping on. You want to jump from the very end of this, and you can either jump dive and then cyclone, which is faster, or you can just jump and cyclone. That's the easy way. And this is the hard way. And you want to do that without hitting the ledge like I did. If you do that, you can go faster through the rest, but if you do it perfectly, you do need to pull your speed a little bit, because right here, that laser will be in your way if you go as fast as possible through this area. It will be in your way. Just trust me. If you take just the jump and the cyclone, so you're going a little slower, then that second pulse cannon, the shot will be nowhere near you when you're going through this section. So that's another thing that makes this part easier. See how it's in my way? I'm about to get hit, so I needed to slow down a little. After that, you want to do a quick cyclone cancel so that you land on the leading edge of this platform. You need a little bit more cyclone than just a very brief cyclone cancel. You'll need to learn how to judge that arc, but you want to land on the leading edge of the platform and roll boost to the other side. If done perfectly, up to this point, you will be ahead of that electricity cycle on that first. You'll be ahead of the electricity cycle on this roundabout. And then there's a few ways to get through that. I need to reset the stage because of cycles. Cycles on the metal ship are very important at the very start. Just take the easy way. So now you see this laser is way ahead of me. But now that laser, because I didn't do the dive kick, the jump dive into Cyclone, and go as fast as possible, I got hit by that electricity. Then what you want to do, I believe it's possible to just fall here and follow the slope forward. What I do is I jump, do a quick Cyclone, and dive kick to cancel the Cyclone. Imagine that the cancel I did there was actually a Cyclone, so I'll try that again. Kind of like that, and you wanna cut it kind of close, but you don't want to get hit by that bar of electricity like I just did. If you do it correctly, you should land down here without getting hit. Then you just run forward, roll boost once you land, and if you did everything correctly to this point, you should reach 20 seconds in here somewhere in this S-curve. If you're doing really well, you might get 20 right here. If you made a couple mistakes, you'll get 20 at the top, like just as you enter the S-curve. That's pretty good, and this area is surprisingly forgiving. Like, you can make quite a few mistakes, and small mistakes that you make kind of make further cycles more forgiving, I guess, so that you make up a tiny amount of the time that you lost. So you'd be surprised when I first learned this how often I was getting 20 at the entrance of this S-curve. But if you do it correctly, you will get 20 a little bit later. Then you want to Cyclone, or no, I believe I just do a regular jump here off of this upslope. And these baskets, these rotating baskets, depending on when you get here, you can be ahead or behind or tied with a cycle. Looks like I'm going to get caught by the basket that's coming up here. Nope, I was barely ahead of it. Getting dropped into the hole by the basket is slow. So ideally you want to get here at a moment when you will avoid the baskets entirely. That's not something you can really control. If you get here as fast as humanly possible, I think you're ahead of a cycle, so you could get the dive kick through this chute. But if you make a mistake, then depending on the size of the mistake, you might be here at the proper time to get caught by a basket or to be ahead of a basket. You really just take what you get here. There's no point in waiting for a basket to go by, because dropping you into the chute is not slow enough to warrant that. So once you drop through the chute, you bounce off the blue springs, turn around, and then this is something that you kind of have to get used to doing in this game. It comes up a fair bit, is when you are hitting a spring, like when I hit that spring to the left and bounced right, I had to press right just as, or like frames before I hit it, so that I was getting all of the speed of the spring. You do not want to still be pressing left while you're hitting a spring like that. Like if I was pressing left while I hit the spring, I would start to slow down as soon as I hit it. But if you catch all the speed, you'll get like this. And then this is a bit of a tricky spot. You really do not want to you really do not want to jump off of this downslope. You want to jump from the flat. If you jump from the downslope, you're going to get a very weak jump, and you will not be able to reach this boost. The boost you want ricochets twice like that. You don't want to ricochet once, you want to ricochet twice. So let me get a good cue. I don't really use a cue for this because I just do it by feel. Like it's a pretty generous boost. But I think there's a cue I used to use that I could tell you guys about. I think, like, you see how the background is blue with gray vents and stuff and pistons going on behind? The one Lilac's in front of, you want to be in the blue area below that, I think. So, like dead center. You see I'm in that, I think my mouse will show up, yeah. This blue rectangle here, I'm going to be about centered in that. This is pretty generous though. You want to boost upright, you'll ricochet twice. You can dive kick here to get into the wind faster, but I don't really do that yet. I haven't really, like I said, I don't like this stage, so I haven't bothered with it a lot yet. My PB is fairly beatable in this stage. I do plan to go back to it and improve. It's just I've had other things to work on right now. I'm hammering out the details in Fortune Knight and making a lot of progress in that. So the crucial part of this, you're going to be dropping through wind here. And the crucial part of this is to dive kick as you're passing the fans, which makes you hit the right spring here. The thing about the wind is that as soon as your dive kick ends, if you're still in the wind, you'll exit the dive kick sprite, which means that you'll be able to do it again. You can dive kick a lot in this wind, like, check this out. But if you dive kick too early, you hit the left spring. If you dive kick too late, yeah, you might hit the right spring, but you want to dive kick about when you pass the fans. This is a pretty easy thing to do. When you get up to here, this is one of the trickiest parts of the metal ship right here, and you really do not need to do it. It saves a little bit of time. You're going to be running down this wall, and it's possible if you can dive kick from the bounce on the spring, like the spring shoots you all the way up to the ceiling. You can dive kick onto this downslope. It's tricky. It's very tricky to do this, but it will give you a lot of speed coming down this wall. It will give you instant speed. It's not crucial because as soon as you start running down, you hit maximum speed pretty fast. The idea here is to jump and cyclone over to the other side, which skips having to run down through this area. This is not easy to do. That's what you want to do right there. This is all feel. There really is, because everything's going by so fast, there isn't a really reliable cue for this. However, this is a checkpoint. The ledge up here, this is a checkpoint, and you can trigger it without reaching the ledge. If you go down here, or even if you're like in the air right here and you just missed it, just restart, just like tag the wall and then restart. And it puts you right back there. And because you restarted, you're wasting real time, but we go by in-game time in this game, and you're not wasting that much in-game time. Every time you restart, if you wind up exactly where you restarted, it will cost you a second, maybe a second and a half. So it's much faster than like missing it and having to run all the way back up. And you don't want to use a boost to get back up here, because you're going to need a boost right here. Whee! Oh boy, oh boy. Anyway. So you may not be that keen on learning this trick this early. I miss this quite a bit still. It's all feel and it's not easy. So if you have to skip that, go ahead and skip it for now, because you don't even have to do a dive kick on the leading edge here, which you can do if you're very new to learning this stage. Is this, and it's free. You drop on the top of the wall so you don't fall at all, and then you hold right. I mean, you could even dive kick down it if you wanted. You could get up to the top, like I just got up to the top, and then do one of these. And if you have a good judge of how deep that hole is, you would land on the downslope here and get a decent amount of speed coming up the other side. I don't know which would be faster. I really haven't timed it because it's been a long time since I've had to do that. Because like, if you try to jump off the wall in the Cyclone to reach this ledge and you miss it, it really isn't much of a time expense, and it does save time if you make it. So even like if you watch the SGDQ run, we both missed it and we both restarted, and I think we restarted at almost exactly the same time. It was pretty funny. All right, so you want to jump so you're about centered above this first step so that you're not going to hit the second step. You want to boost upright here. Do not try to boost high enough that you'll get caught by the pulse cannons. That's really easy to do. Like if you have to jump and then jump again, make sure you boost like as soon as you get in the air. Or even to be safe, just like be on the left side here and boost straight up. And as long as you, I mean, you can even bonk the ceiling here. It really doesn't matter. There's an alternative strategy that I haven't really looked into since it was found, but it can potentially save time, and that's, if you're doing the rundown strat, you might as well try this and see if you can get it. It's a Cyclone jump followed by a booster. You might even only need a jump. I think you need a Cyclone jump though. Like right here. If you do it high enough, you can get it to that ledge. So you kind of have to beware of these steps in the ceiling though. Like I've landed on those, I've tried to do it before and hit those, and you get some really weird movement off of those sometimes. Like they act like slopes in part of them. They look square, but some parts of them act like slopes, and that can give you not a ceiling run. It won't give you a ceiling run, but it can give you some really weird movement. And usually, if that happens, you find yourself in front of the pulse cannons just before they fire. So anyway, boost from down here, and then the pulse cannon, if it fired to the right, should just be trailing you, and you should be fine. You can do a Cyclone jump here if you want. That saves a little bit of time if you can do it, I think. Either way, you kind of want to jump and then dive kick here. Oops, that's not what I meant to do at all. Still in the metal ship. The neat part is that if I have to quit the stage, I will be able to go straight to the fire or earth ship. So jump, Cyclone, easy strat. Drop, Cyclone, cancel, roll boost. I guess you can be out of that. Is ahead of the basket or behind the basket, depending on what you feel like saying. Okay, what I do is I run up to the top and I jump from the end of, like the upper left corner here, and then do a dive kick. And start to steer the dive kick right just as I pass the floor. So kind of like that. A little bit tricky. So you jump from the upper left corner and dive kick, and then steer the dive kick right after a very short delay so that you don't land back on the lower right part of the loop. Alright, this mini-boss is a one-shot. You just need to do a high uppercut, and I talked about high uppercuts in Dragon Valley. You do hold up until Lilac's in a looking up animation, and then press A and B together. That's not a high uppercut. This is a high uppercut. And this is a pretty common mistake, is to miss this mini-boss because you miss the high uppercut. But if you do it right, what you want to do is walk to the right. See how he's kind of below the ground there, his bobbing up and down? You see that turquoise part of his head? You want to walk to about halfway between this pad that is for Carol and that section. So you want to be like here. Then immediately stop, do a high uppercut, and boost right inside his sprite. If you want to practice this guy, it's really convenient just to start from this checkpoint. Okay, so that high uppercut is really simple. There's not really much to explain about it. However, let's say you get it wrong. Let's say you do this. Then you want to high uppercut again. Just go for it again to the right. You should be in the right position to be in his sprite and be able to boost left instead of right. Which, you know, that didn't work. My controller is pretty sensitive for diagonals. So let's say you miss it. You get ample opportunity as he's coming back the other way to try to get another uppercut and boost left through him. If he happens to get these lasers off, don't like tank them or anything. They're very short. And then try to get in his face again. Like he's going to bounce off the left side, so what you can do is uppercut like over here and then try to boost right as he goes right. You have a whole bunch of backups at your disposal for this guy. They're all as difficult as the initial kill. So in practicing this guy, make sure you're practicing the backups as well. And then as soon as you reach the right side, you want to drop so you're at the base of this upslope. Run up it a little bit. Immediately jump like off of the this mark right here. See how there's like fancy marks on the floor? This last one is probably about where you want to jump, maybe a little bit later. And do a quick cyclone cancel up to the ledge. You may not need the cyclone cancel if you manage to bonk. If you're close enough when you start the boost, if you're slightly further to the right than usual, you will bonk off those purple blocks, which sends you far enough back that you can get a bigger run up that slope, and you may not need to cyclone cancel to get up. But I recommend doing it anyway. That the cyclone cancel doesn't cost you anything. You could jump over this one-up cage and the health flower if you want. It's faster because jumping gives you air drag. I mean, you could do this, I guess, but that would probably give you a tiny bit of air drag, almost imperceptible, probably a few frames. Or you can just do this. You want to kick about, so there's about half of Lilac's width between Lilac and the cage. If you're too close, you will press against the cage momentarily. If you're too far away, you will not kick the flower. But it's pretty wide. It's kind of awkward because it doesn't look like you're going to get it when you get it. But yeah, I'd say practice that as well. Practice that while you practice the mini boss, and you'll get it pretty quickly. Then you want to kick this lower cannon as you're approaching it, and then stop against it. But remember that you can't boost. You can't boost while you're pushing against something. Lilac cannot be in a pushing animation to start a boost. So as soon as you hit the cannon, stop the D-pad entirely, and then press boost. And since you're along the ground, you should just get a right boost automatically. I just hold right out of instinct. So kick, stop, boost. And you can get a slight roll there. Because the boost winds up right on top of the cannon, even though the boost would normally ram the cannon and bounce Lilac back, the wind-up is enough to kill the cannon by itself. Like normally 2 kicks would be enough. So you did 1 kick approaching it and then a boost on top of it, and then by the time the boost fires, the cannon's already dead and you go straight through it. That's the idea here. If you do happen to push against the cannon, all you have to do is let go of right while you're holding boost, and the boost will then happen. So that's it for the metal ship. This is not that hard. The only real difficult part about the metal ship is the opening electricity bar cycles and the wall jump to get across to the ledge where the checkpoint is. Those are the only real difficult things. The biggest time waster in this ship is absolutely the mini-boss, so make sure you get a lot of practice on him. And I managed to ram because, as you noticed, I got a roll. That's very uncommon. I got a roll when I did the boost, which meant I was further to the right when the boost went off. Now, I've had that roll happen without bonking on the turret, but you don't want to try for that. I never try for that. It doesn't really save any time. Even if you got a roll, it would save a few frames, and it's really risky. So just get to the right. A good exit time when you start for this ship would be 55, probably. It's possible to get a 48, I believe. I've had low 49. I've seen someone get a high 48. So fire ship is next. That's the middle button. If you're coming into the hub ship, just keep running right and then tap A. I really should just show this. Let me start the stage over. I can go straight to fire ship. You want to be running right, and then as soon as you contact the switch, tap A, and then as you're in the air, let go of right. And you'll get onto the lip of the button. This is the same deal as the metal ship. You just want to drop onto the rocket below you. It comes out in front a little bit earlier this time, and you want to roll boost to the front of it. Now again, there's two ledges, this first ledge and this ledge. There's going to be some mines above you here. When you get under the mines, you want to do a jump dive followed by another jump dive. And there's an enemy on the platform that the first jump dive will land you on, so there's going to be a little bit of hit lag there, which you need to account for. How you hit that enemy there, that will slow you down very slightly, and it might throw off your timing, so make sure you practice this bit. Not a huge deal if you miss these. You just jump up and continue. And then when you get to the right here, you want to touch the first metal pipe, like this, and then do a full jump. And if you did everything correctly to this point, and you touch this just briefly, then when you jump up here, the middle flame, the first one on the high platform, will recede just as you reach it. We start the ship again and show. Okay, I was a little bit early, and the cycles were off because I restarted, but if you do it the way I just did it, you should run over that first flame just as it recedes. And then you want to roll boost that as you're about 2/3 up the slope. That will cause the boost to happen as soon as you reach the edge here. If you did everything right there, you'll get to the other side with no incident. As soon as you come out of the boost, you want to kick to get through this crystal. And then you can either try to go right under the flame, or you can go left and bounce off the springs and then go under the flame. And if you get here as fast as possible, you will go under the flame without getting hit, because it will be pointing at this lower right corner, and Lilac is it's not close. At that corner, it doesn't spray the fire close enough to the ground. Lilac can stand upright underneath it and not get hit. If you just ran to the right, you can reach that as well. I think they're pretty much equivalent. Like running to the right or bouncing off the spring, they're pretty much the same. From here, you want to jump off a certain part of this upslope and cycle and cancel onto the button. Spend only a little time on the button. Like, you want the button to be, see where this groove in the wall is? So there's like 2 bolts in these panels in the walls, and there's one right here. On the top edge of that is about where you want the button to be. That was a little bit low. You can make it the button, the door here has to be retracted so that its bottom edge lines up with the top of Lilac's eyes in order to get through it. The top of her head doesn't run into the wall, but everything else will. So, let's see. Okay, jump now. See, this is just about perfect. It could probably be very, very slightly lower. But this is about right. If you're too high, that's good. If you're too low, that's very bad, because it means you have to drop down and hit the button again. So stay on the button longer than you think you need to at first, and then stay on the button shorter and shorter until as you get more comfortable with it. Same with all these windows. Like, err on the side of caution. Err on the side that will just get you through the obstacle without running into things, without stopping dead. Err to the side that will cost you the least time, and then get closer to the perfect timing from that side of it. Like, don't press the button as little as possible and then realize you're going too short and then try to, make it longer. Start a little bit too long and then pull it back until it's where it needs to be. Here you can dive kick down this chute. There's mines at the bottom. If you happen to hit the mines, you need to cyclone cancel to stop yourself falling through the floor, which leads to an earlier section of the level. So if you don't want to dive kick down here, it's probably a good idea at first. If you do want to dive kick, you can do a double dive. I think I talked about double dive. It's where you do a jump dive, where you jump and dive kick immediately. And then in the air, you do the same thing again. You do what you would normally do on the ground to do a jump dive. And what happens is you get a jump and then a dive kick in the air, and then you get a down cyclone, which resets your falling speed, and then you get another dive kick. And that's called a double dive. So you can do a very quick double dive at the bottom here, and as long as you're above the mines, you'll get all the benefit of the fast fall of the dive kick without running into them. Like that. If you happen to hit those mines, see though there's no floor underneath them. Like once they blow up that floor, you'll just fall down. That's down here with the invincibility and all this stuff. You don't want to be down here. So just make sure you're not going too low on that. Now here there's a few ways you can do this. You want to get diagonally up through this room with a boost. There's two options that you have. One is just jump against this wall, and then at the end, to get that height, you need that dive kick. That is just like the old strat for the waterfalls in Dragon Valley. That little extra height that you get from the dive kick is absolutely crucial to getting up to this platform. I would say that's probably harder. I think it is slightly faster. I haven't timed them though. If it's faster, it's very, very slightly faster. The other option, which I would say is easier, is to do a high uppercut here and boost upright from the apex and then dive kick at the end. If you happen to get the one frame perfect high uppercut that gives you a little extra height, the dive kick, if timed correctly, will put you on this downslope and you'll get enough speed that Lilac will go into spinny feet mode. But that's kind of rare for me. Either way, like if you boosted up here and you did a dive kick to reach this and you just ran onto this platform, you will have no speed, so immediately do a jump and then a dive kick onto this. So either way, you're running down this slope, bounce off the springs twice, and then boost after you hit the second springs. Now, if you boost early enough, I'm no good at this, but if you boost early enough, you'll come out of the boost just in time. Like I'm still in the boost here, but if I were not in the boost, I could cyclone jump off this upslope, which would preserve some of my speed. On the way through, okay, let me get a checkpoint. All the cycles are screwed up because I've been restarting instead of starting from a fresh stage. Okay, that's pretty good height. Whether or not you do the cyclone jump, which you should aim to hit the right side of the upper right side, like just like the one on the metal ship. You want to, if you cyclone jump off the upslope here, you want to aim it to push right into the upper right corner of the loop, just like doing any other ceiling mount. Okay, so once you go through this loop, though, you want to jump on that same upslope with just enough height to get you out of there. Because of the crystals in the loop, you should now have enough for another boost, and you want to use this just below the ledge that is in the air in front of you. And don't air high on this, you don't want to bonk. So then you're going to land on this platform. If you boost it as high as possible, you will miss this and land down on the grating. But because I didn't, see how I clipped the edge of the ledge there? That's fine. That doesn't matter a whole lot. But if you are able to land on the grate as soon as possible, like if you were to, if you did the boost as high as possible, you would land here from a dive kick. Like, if you did this, you would land about there, and as soon as you touch down, you would want to jump and cyclone into the wind. Like that. But no matter where you land, you want to jump and cyclone immediately, like after a very short delay. So you establish your upward speed. You don't want to go like, or let me see. I guess it doesn't matter that much. You can just double tap B or double tap A. And you can go over this if you want. Like if you want to aim your cyclone through this health flower, you can. What I like to do is cancel with a kick just before I reach the platform, which stops my ascent exactly the right time to land on the platform cleanly. It doesn't really matter, because at this point you will be waiting for meter. The boost that you did to get onto the grating and jump into the wind, that boost drained your meter, so you should have about half a meter when you get to this health flower, which is why you want to pick up all the health petals. I would not try to cyclone early, because you might be short and fall back down. You don't want that. Just make sure you're cycloning somewhere at or above, so you make sure you get onto this platform at first. Now there's a couple ways you can go from here. You have to pick up all the health petals to fill your meter. At this point your meter might be still shy of full, in which case just wait for it to be nearly full and then do this, which will put you here. If you're waiting on meter, what you can do, and I would only recommend doing this if you're comfortable with it, is jump to the right and boost at about the level of the platform, which will give you, it'll start your boost further to the right. So like if you compare, your meter is always going to fill at the same time, so it's just starting you further to the right when your meter fills. Now here's a neat trick you can do here. This is not necessary, but it's pretty cool. It may take me a few tries because I haven't practiced this a whole lot. You want to jump. You want to be holding down. You want to be holding down after your boost starts and forward at the same time. So hold down and forward, and then at the end of the platform that you're going to land on with the boost, you jump, bonk on the ceiling, and just as you bonk on the ceiling, press A again. That will give you a down cyclone, which you then steer up immediately. It's just like a dive glide, except you're not doing the dive part. So let's see. If I do this, didn't jump soon enough. Let's get this guy out of here. Okay, so I didn't steer it up there, but there's the start of it. Okay. You see how annoying I haven't practiced any of recovery here. I got most of it there. That should work. There we go. Okay, so that will get you over that gap. If you don't want to do that, just keep going right after the boost, and you will run into some springs, some spikes here, and then jump over them, cyclone, and dive kick onto the downslope. That's the alternative. You will get almost as much speed. The glide saves probably about 1.5 seconds. All right. Spade is the first really difficult mini-boss. I mean, Serpentine was kind of hard, but Serpentine, you had boosts. You were able to use boosts. Really, you won't be able to use boosts on this guy, and all of his movement is based on your own. And I'm not going to be able to explain it too well. I'll explain the best pattern, and I'll explain a few backups if I can, but really judging what he's going to do next and where he's going to move, whether he's going to air dash or rain death from above or throw cards. Knowing what he's going to do really just comes from experience fighting him. So I recommend fighting this guy a lot. The checkpoint is right here. Like, you get a checkpoint right at this ledge, and he's right here. So it takes nothing to restart over and over on him and try him over and over. So let's see what I can do against this guy. This is really tricky. His movement is very erratic, and it's extremely hard to manipulate him based on your own movement because of the fine differences in your own movement just due to human imperfection. When he comes first, he's going to be on a helicopter. You want to jump and kick him with timing so that you hit him as soon as he drops the helicopter. He's invincible while he's hanging on it, but as soon as he lets go, you can hit him and he will take damage. I think this guy takes 4 hits overall. Like, you'll have to cry out 4 times. Boosts are not something you want to use on this guy. For one thing, it will put you on the other side of the map and you'll have to get back to him, and meanwhile his movement will be very erratic and unpredictable. And second, you are going to want to leave this battle arena with a boost, and there's a short cutscene after you beat him that will not allow your meter to charge. So you want a full meter when this fight stops. Alright, so as soon as you land, you should be landing just to the right of him so that your sprite overlaps him, and kick twice to the left. Like that. That will give you another point of damage on him. And then he's going to dash to the right. He'll do an air dash, like he'll dash up left and then dash left. So get some distance on you. And then he'll throw cards at you, 3 cards to the right. One will go level, one will go at a rough, like at a low diagonal, one will go at more of an even like at a 45-degree angle. And you want to do a short hop over them, or a larger hop if you need to. Jump, jump. And that should have damaged him. Okay, you notice, a lot of people probably didn't notice this because things are going so fast, but everything he does is all playing cards. Even these laser shots, they have playing cards in them. See those red things with the dots in the corners? And he's not shooting guns. He's got his hands out like he's making guns out of his hands, and he's just doing that, which is pretty cool. So what you're actually supposed to do here is kick him off the helicopter as he falls, kick him twice as he's moving left, then kick him again. Like, whenever you hit him and he cries out, you will knock him further away from you, unfortunately. He won't stay with you as much. So you're going to knock him off the helicopter, kick twice to the left, and that was incorrect. I did not go far enough right, and he caught me with a card. I got 2 extra kicks in there because I stayed close enough to him. That's the best you can do here. So you want to get those 2 kicks in if you can. That will put on another 16 damage. And then he's going to dash twice to the right. You want to jump over the cards. And if you did everything correct, he should take damage there. Then you want to get close enough to him. And if you did everything correctly, that last kick and then the uppercut with timing should kill him. But even if you didn't get the uppercut, you can still just kick him again afterward. so I ended up a little bit in front of him. This is a problem in this, is being too far in front of him or too far behind him. You want to be exactly with him, which takes practice. Okay, see how I kind of just made it up there at the end? That, when he goes up for the shots from the sky, if you haven't hit him with the uppercut on the way up, then he's probably going to hit you with them. And there's nothing you can really do about that except play better. I only got one kick because I was too far away. And I was, again, too far away to get the uppercut. You have to really be on top of him to get that uppercut. That's a perfect fight right there. That's what it should look like every single time. That's really difficult to do, though. Let me think if there's any backups I can tell you about. Like if he hits you at the start, like that, he's going to run left, and then since you're not with him, he will dash to the right. You can wait for him in the corner and kick him there. And then just kind of make it up. You see how I'm just the basic idea with him is that you need to follow where he's moving. So if he dashes, if he throws cards at you, you need to jump over the cards and then run along with him. Like jump over the cards and turn around, and then start running with him. If he goes into the air, you need to keep running underneath him and jump up and kick him behind. I'm gonna let myself die here, and then show you. Hopefully I can show you how to handle his shots in the air. Like, okay, that. If you go fast enough, you can get under the shots before he hits you and jump up behind him and kick him. And that's how you want to handle that. The air dashes, if he air dashes away from you, just like turn around, like how he air dashed left here. Then he air dashed back because I didn't follow him. So if he air dashes far away from you, just wait and he'll come back. He will air dash back, guaranteed. Unless he's just done, like if he's just done 2 air dashes, then he will never do a third one, I don't think. I could be wrong about that. This guy is like, he's all feel. You really need to have a good sense of what he's going to do next. And I can't really explain a lot of the details. It's all in feel, like how far you are from him, where you're moving, to know what his next move is going to be. I'm really pretty good at figuring out what he's going to do next, so I can usually make up something if I screw up the fight. And there's not a whole lot of consistent backups for this. Like, it can get out of hand fast, and if it gets out of hand, just knowing how to respond to each of his moves and where to move relative to him is what's important. Anyway, let's just beat him. And move on. So I let my meter charge during the fight. He will come up on the helicopter and hover for a bit. About halfway through the hover is when you want to boost. And then when you get back on the ship, you can either run under or do a slope jump dive like I just did. Just jump off the downslope and do a dive kick to get over to the other switch. And then the same thing as the middle switch. When you get to that switch, just once you hit it, just do a quick jump and let go of right in the air. With both of the middle switch for the fire ship and the right switch for the earth ship, it is possible to jump before you hit the switch so that you hit the switch sooner. It's very difficult, and it's still not worthwhile even for me, I wouldn't say. Like, that would take some practice for me, like jumping from floor marks and deciding when to hit left in the air to stop moving. And I'm not going to cover that right now. There's a lot of strats, actually, from the first 3 videos that were not included, either because I forgot. Like, there's only a few strats that I forgot. There's only a few of them, and they're not important to a new player. They're really not. They're hard ones. And there's also strats that were found since, and stuff that other people have been doing all along that I didn't know about, that I found out after I made the videos. Anything like that, I'm going to make a 13th video after I make all the 12 stages. I'm going to make a 13th video to catch up on the other 12 videos. I'll put everything in one video that I missed or that has happened since, so that after you've watched all the 12 videos, then you can watch that to catch yourself up on what's current in the community. Like Fortune Knight has got a lot of new strategies, and it all happened like the few days after I did the video was when all these strats were found. So there's a lot that the Fortune Knight video is missing. Thankfully, almost all of it. There's one thing that I can think of that I forgot that is kind of important, but there's almost all of it in Fortune Knight is in the first half, and it's brutally hard. Like some of the hardest stuff in the game is in there. Fortune Knight 1 is so hard now, so it's not things you're going to miss out on. But just as there's going to be an addendum video, like an appendix, after all the other videos are done. So let's go to Earthship now. Unlike the start of the other ships, I mean, there is a way to just drop onto the second rocket and boost like the others. Personally, I like to just jump and do a cyclone cancel from the second rocket and then boost to the right and do a dive kick followed by a jump dive. There's going to be an enemy in the air that's shooting diagonal shots downward, and then there's going to be two slimes in the ground that will already have left slime on the ground. The slimes themselves never hurt you. Like if you've played Mila, you'd recognize the slimes from Aqua Tunnel. The slimes themselves are completely harmless. It's the slime they leave on the ground that is dangerous. And they've already left some on the ground, so you want to jump dive over that. So at the very start here, I drop onto the second rocket. Almost fell. So like jump onto the second rocket, jump, cyclone, and now you're going to land. You want to land over this first ledge onto the lower bit, and as soon as you land, jump dive, so that you're going down through this wind. This will take a little practice. Like a very common error would be to land on the very back edge of that first ledge, and that doesn't let you contact the ground of the lower ledge until you're already too far right and you hit the slime. So there's quite a few mistakes you could make through here. Just try to practice the start of this ship, because you want enough speed going through here, and then you're going to cyclone off of this blue spring, and then you want to jump and dive kick off of that downslope, not when you're on the wall, but like when you're on the 45-degree part. And if you do it right, you will dive kick through this crystal. Sometimes the dive kick doesn't work, in which case what you would do is you would move left off the crystal and then kick to the right, and then no matter what happens, you're going to want to drop and dive kick down here, boost as soon as you land, cyclone off of this spring, cancel about when you pass this brown board, dark brown board just above Lilac in the background. Let me get that again. Something like that. You just don't want to be consuming meter. Like, you're going to get so much height off of the wind and the cyclone anyway that you don't need speed by the time you get like 2/3 of the way up the shaft, and you just want to cancel your cyclone because you're going to need a boost soon. So you want to cancel your cyclone somewhat early, and then dive kick, like, okay. Dive kick just before you hit the ceiling, so that you want to be going totally vertical here. And then you want to dive kick just before you hit the ceiling, so that your dive kick just immediately drops you straight down. Don't dive kick too early, or you will get some extra upward speed from the windup of the dive kick, and you probably end up where that health flower is, or on the ladder at least. You don't want to grab that ladder. So then if you dive kick properly, then you dive kick down here, cyclone upward just as you get clear of the ceiling and land on this hill. Then jump from the hill and boost right from just under the lip of the ceiling here. Actually, that was incorrect. You want to boost like, this is a good place right here. Maybe a little bit right or left of here. I'm not too sure. You're aiming this boost with the hope that you will go through all the crystals and land on a blue spring. Right there. That was the correct boost. That's why I choose that position, because it lands you on that spring. The crystals will very, very often get in your way. Like landing cleanly on that spring is rare. It's not something you're going to be able to count on, because as far as we can tell, the pattern of the crystals in this room depends on the stage timer. It is a global cycle, which means you would need to know like a whole bunch of different times that you could boost that would be successful. You need to know like probably 5 to 10 different in-game times at which to start your boost to get through the crystals cleanly, and I just have not bothered with that. It's probably just best to boost, and what you get is what you get, and work your way through the crystals however you have to. Bounce off the spring, come up here. If you happen to get the bounce off the blue spring just from the boost without hitting any of the crystals, then great, you got lucky. Currently we don't have a way to make that happen though. Like, we don't have manipulation for it. So run under that thing, jump, cyclone cancel onto this ladder. And I talked about before, I think where I mentioned it was in the Relic Maze video, as you grab a ladder, if you're going like fast to the right, as you grab the ladder, press up and left, because the left will cancel the swing around motion that Lilac does, which wastes about a half second. Okay, so once you get clear of the ledge to the left here, like once you get about here, just tap left and jump, so you jump off the ladder. Once you get completely clear of the ladder, boost, and then aim it up left, which will bounce you around like that and give you enough speed to keep going right. Now, this is a little tricky. I mean, you could just run through here and either hit that flower or run into it and turn around, and then just go down here. But there's a quicker way. There's actually a couple quicker ways. If you skid to a halt on this vertical part, you'll slow yourself down enough. And it takes practice to know about how much you need to slow yourself down. I'm still not very good at it. But as you saw there, you can be going slow enough that you'll fall under the platform where the health flower is and not have to turn around at all. That is faster. I believe Flatterby found a dive kick strategy here that I have not tried yet. Let's see if I can get it. Okay. There is I think you have to jump off like the downslope here. Something like that. The timing is pretty precise. And then you will get under the platform with the health without slowing down at all. I have not tried to learn that yet. If I managed to learn it before the 13th video. Yeah, I know. Like, I'd need to find a cue for it, but I may provide information on that in the future. It's not super critical for you to do that. It's a very advanced strategy. Either way, you're going to run through this area, and it will drop you onto a crystal. Immediately jump off the crystal and cyclone in the wind. You want to get enough height here. Don't cancel the cyclone too early, because you'll get caught in the wind and have to come back down. Like, if you cancel too early like that, you won't reach the top. I managed to reach the top, but you can fall short, and then you just have to go back down and do it all over again. And then you boost to the right in the air. If you're low enough, you will go under these platforms. And I managed to go through them, so we're going to see the low route. But I'll show both routes just because either can really happen, like unless you have a very precise cancel cue and you want to take the lower route. They're about equivalent. The upper route, lower route doesn't really matter here. So taking the lower route, you will land on the flat, and then there's springs in front of you. when you bounce off the springs, you want to hold down and then press A and B together, like one after the other, A, B, as you get over the spikes, like this. And I'm supposed to have a shield here, but the A input gives you a downward cyclone, which stops your upward movement entirely, and the dive kick cancels the cyclone. You don't actually need the dive kick, but you're going to want to be out of the cyclone eventually anyway. If you were to go straight up, you'd wind up on the upper route. Let's just see where I wind up with the restart. Okay, this is pretty convenient. That health is pretty convenient too. Okay, so jump, cyclone, go high enough, and then boost right. Now I'm going to wind up on these missiles, and I will run off 3 of them under a bunch of pounders that the springs lead up here, and then as you run off the platform, you want to stop dead and dive kick down left, like that. Now above me to the left are the spikes, so this is where you would come out if you went in the lower route. So this is where the paths rejoin. And then you want to jump so that you're about, see the grooves in the background, the horizontal grooves? Like there's vertical plates and there's horizontal grooves on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th. You want to boost, so Lilac, the top of Lilac sprite is about level with that. Like that. Now you can go a little higher. I would say even with those grooves. I don't really use a cue for this, I just go by feel. But you probably want to be about even with the center of those grooves. And you will go over this pipe and below the ceiling. If you happen to have lost the metal shield by now, turn around and grab this earth shield. It will help you for the boss. Like, it is actually useful on the boss, so you probably want it. Might even save you time. So the time to get it is worth it if you have no shield here, I think. If you're really confident at the boss without a metal shield, then you can probably keep going. It's risky, though. So, let me kill this guy. Alright, so the boost here gives you enough speed to the right that you can just run over the first 2 cubes here, and it'll drop you through this gap before the 3rd one. Sometimes the crystals will be in your way, so you might have to, like, oftentimes I will jump before the first cube and do a quick cyclone to maneuver myself, and then dive kick down after the 2nd cube. However you have to get down here, and then this purple crystal will be coming up. And then your meter should just be about filling here, so jump through the gap and boost in the air. Then you want to skid to a stop about the last crystal, I think. However, you need to skid there to get into the hole without having to turn around. It's not critical. Like, you can go past the hole and turn around if you need to. And then this door is going to collapse shut on its own no matter how far down you push the button. So you need to have a pretty good feel for how long you need to sit on the button so that when you jump out of it, you can get under it as fast as possible before it closes on you. So that was pretty good right there. That's about as good as you can do. You could probably go slightly faster, but I would err on the side of caution there and sit on the button longer than you think you need to, just to be sure. So this mini-boss, there's a lot of ways to approach this guy. There's a few best ways, and nothing is super easy here. I recommend a high uppercut when you first start. You can also do a jump cyclone, I think. Yeah, just get the first hit however you can. I mean, the best strategy involves a high uppercut here, but if you're not comfortable with high uppercuts, you can just jump and cyclone him. If you happen to do that, then what I would do is jump to the left here, boost from just above the door, up right, which will hit him, then hit him on the way down with a kick. Wait for your meter to be almost full, jump and boost again. Now the pattern here is that he will shoot like, I think 2 or 3 times. I think it's 3 times. He'll shoot 2 balls of electricity, and then he will drop this crystal down the center of the room. If you sit on the crystal, it will take you back up. So if you happen to fall and you don't have meter and he's about to do this, you can jump on the crystal and hit him as you get up there. And the nice thing is, as with the other mini-bosses in this stage, it puts you right before the mini-boss when you restart. So this is an easy guy to practice. Alright, so that's the easy strategy, is to get either a jump and a cyclone or a high uppercut to get the first hit, then boost diagonally upright from above the door on the left wall, and kick him on the way up and on the way down. So he takes 5 hits. Then another way you can do this is through what we call brain damage. This will come up in later stages as well, especially on Battle Glacier's boss. Brain damage is just doing a wall ram at point-blank range to the wall, or at least fairly close, which will if you do a boost against a wall, like straight into a vertical wall, close enough, you'll spend very little meter and the boost will be cancelled. And you will still have a cyclone after it. Unlike normally boosting, if you boost like diagonally up into the air, you don't have a cyclone after the boost stops. But if you do this close enough to a wall, and you bounce off the wall and the boost stops, then you still have your cyclone. So the idea here is to uppercut left or jump left. You can just jump left here, I think, and boost against the wall and then cyclone into the wind. And you have to hold A when the boost rams, because you get that extra floatiness out of the boost when it ends. That gives you enough height to do the cyclone into the wind. So that's the easy way to get into the wind. You can hit him once on the way up, once on the way down, and you notice how close he is to me. The best strategy here hits him 5 times in a row without ever coming back down, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But if you did brain damage to get up here, you don't have to wait for meter when you get back down. You could just do it again because you didn't spend any meter. The boost ended immediately. So that's not that hard. So I would graduate out of the first way I showed you pretty quickly into that way, because it's faster than waiting for meter. So that will save you a few seconds just right off the bat. And it'll give you some practice for brain damage for later. So, all right, here's the fastest way. It'll take a few tries because you need a really good high uppercut to get this. If you high uppercut from the center of the room and then you cyclone at the top of that high uppercut and you got like same frame high uppercut and you got the extra height, it will put you into the very bottom of the wind and you will immediately start ascending. So not only did you hit him, you also got into the wind with him. Let's see if I can do this. This might take a couple tries. I need a same frame high uppercut for this. Not quite high enough. More than half of Lilac's sprite has to be in the wind to get picked up by it. Now that I need to do it, I can't. I've been getting this a lot lately. So close, so close. I want to show you what this looks like. There we go. So then on your way up, kick him just as you reach him for the second time. So the kick, like you're doing a cyclone up into him. Okay, you're doing the uppercut, which hits him for the first time. Then you're doing a cyclone up into the wind, and just as you reach him, kick again to cancel the cyclone, which will put you at the right height to get another kick. And then he'll come down again, you can get a 4th kick. Now you want to boost ram the wall while holding A, which gives you enough height off the bounce to hit him a 5th time. Now you can drop to the floor and boost up and out. That's the fastest way to kill him. Malexi has a strategy which involves killing him just as he shoots the crystal out of his body down to the ground, because if he gets the kill shot while that's in the ground, until the guy dies, until the mini-boss dies, that crystal still counts as a platform. If he's already exploded, then you cannot jump on top of that little crystal, yellow crystal that he shoots into the ground anymore. So it doesn't count as a platform anymore. But if you jump on it before he dies, then you can get into the wind very easily and come out without using a boost. So you'll just like uppercut into the wind, cyclone up to the top here, and then you would have meter up here, and you would jump, cyclone to the right, and then boost. That's how he leaves the ship. Yeah, Flatterby just mentioned, see, this is why I have chat open, that when I showed you the fastest strat, the fourth kick can just be the boost itself. You don't have to kick then boost, you can just boost, and the boost wind-up will hit him. Like, let's say I go up like this. Oops. Now I would have meter to exit the ship normally. And I guess you could do that instead of boosting. That would probably be a little faster. What I do traditionally to leave the ship is just do the boost, go all the way through, and then jump dive over the hatch down to the lower floor. And then the meter will fill after you run off the ship, and you can boost to the right. So that's how I leave the ship. Now we've covered everything about the stage. The cool part is we have a perfect checkpoint for the boss. I'm going to have to beat the metal ship first, though, because as you may recall, I restarted the stage and started with the fire ship the second time. Sometimes you might get hit by that pulse cannon if your boost was at the wrong position. Doesn't happen often to me, though. Okay, so now we're going back to the main ship, and you're going to be coming out the first slope. Turn around in the air, and then just do a quick short hop off of the first slope here, like that. That will put you on the on the left rocket. Different players tend to have different strategies for this guy. I'll give you mine and a few peeks into strategies by other people, but I don't understand their strategies as well as I understand my own, and mine is just as fast as theirs. There's only a few variations, though. Like, some people like to fight on the left rocket, which I do. Some people like to fight on the middle rocket, which is the tallest. Some people like to fight on the left slope. I think Rezard used to do that, fight on the slope that you come in on. And there's pros and cons to each. They're not really serious pros and cons, so I mean, it's not gonna, as long as you find something that works for you, you're good. This guy, Rubber Bands, if you played him, if you fought him casually, you know that his movement is very strictly based on yours. He will stay at about your height, and he will move left and right past you. If you chase him down, he will only get further away. Within reason. He has already started turning around. You can still chase him down. There are 5 phases to this. The first phase, he comes down from above at a higher height than the other phases. This is important, and it's the reason that the first phase strategy is different from the other phases. It's also a very cool strategy, and I really enjoy it. And then the second phase, the fourth phase, and the fifth phase are all the same. So if you can do the second phase, you can do the fourth and fifth. The third phase is when he gains the ability to do his laser spread attack. And if you have the metal shield, you'll be immune to that, as well as everything else he can do except for his rams. After each phase, he will ram you 4 times from the sides of the screen. Right, left, right, left. And if the ram that he does there, that's the only thing he can touch you with if you have the metal shield. That is the only way he can hurt you. The metal shield just trivializes this boss completely. If you can do the jumps over those intermediary phases between the regular phases when he's ramming you, you will never take damage in this fight. Which is why the metal shield is so useful. And on phase 3 in particular, because the spread lasers, you kind of have to move away if you don't have a shield. You have to hide down below or to the side. Having the metal shield lets you stay right up with him until the lasers end and immediately start hitting him and be in position. It saves a couple seconds to have that at least. And it's also a really good backup to have the metal shield. Plus, if you can carry the metal shield through this entire boss, which is not hard, if you can dodge the rams, you can carry the metal shield through this guy to Jade Creek. And Jade Creek, if you can carry the metal shield all the way to the mini boss of the stage, which is, again, not terribly difficult, then the mini boss of Jade Creek, near Ali, is made, the beginning of that fight is made a lot easier by the metal shield, or any shield, but the metal shield is the only one you can really reasonably have by then. Alright, so this is one of the harder bosses in the game. It's got a lot of subtleties to it, and a lot can go wrong very fast if you let him get away. So you need a really crucial skill to this boss is knowing how to chase him down properly to keep him close to you and not let him like wander off into the edge of the screen. How to manipulate his rubber banding back and forth so that he will be coming back to you instead of flying further away, and jumping at the right height to hit whatever feathers you have left to destroy. The Cyclone, this is one instance in which the Dragon Cyclone, which is normally terrible for damaging enemies, and we only really use it to stay, like to gain height, like in Robopanther fight, how you would do the basic kick, kick, cyclone, kick, kick, kick pattern. The Cyclone in there is to give you some extra height so that you have more time to kick before hitting the ground again. So usually we only use the Cyclone for mobility on a boss. This guy, the feathers are so low health that it really doesn't matter what attack you use on them. So a Cyclone will do just as well as anything else. As a matter of fact, we use Cyclone extensively on this guy because the feathers are so low health. And once his head is vulnerable, the feathers are gone, his head only takes one of any hit. So the Cyclone has a huge hitbox. It can cover the feathers and his head at the same time. And once the feathers are down, instantly turn around and hit his head. So the Cyclone, this is one of the bosses in which the Cyclone gets the most use. So let's talk about first phase. We're going to go through this phase by phase. And I'm really only going to cover phases 1, 2, and 3 because 4 and 5 are so similar. I will cover phase 5 a little bit just because of the presence of the whirlwind attack that he has. He has 3 attacks apart from his ram between phases. He has an orb of electricity, which is the first thing you'll see, always. He has the lasers, which only show up on phase 3 and will only show up a certain amount of time after that regularly, like, I don't know, X amount of time after that, and then X amount of time after that, and you'll only see a second laser spread if you took too long. So you should, if you execute correctly, only ever see the first guaranteed laser spread, which you can never stop him doing. Mila can stop him doing that because she can throw the flower at him, but Lilac has no known way to do that. So the other attack that he has is the whirlwind, and this is the worst. If he gets a whirlwind off, you cannot touch him unless you do a very, very delicate, very, very exact boost and you started near him. And it's very, very difficult to do. So you do not want him to get a whirlwind. He cannot get a whirlwind for the first however long of the fight. And if you hit him fast enough in phases 2, 4, and 5, if he was going for a whirlwind, you'll probably preempt it by hitting his head quickly enough anyway, because it takes a little while to wind up for the whirlwind. If you see him going for a whirlwind, you're probably going to be in panic mode trying to salvage it. But if you go fast enough, he won't get the whirlwind, like if you do every phase correctly, which is really, really tough. So let's go through first phase. You want to stand on the left side. What I do is I stand on the left side of this rocket facing right and hold up. As he comes down, I will uppercut through his feathers, dive kick down the other side of his feathers after I've hit 1 or 2 with the uppercut. Then on the other side of him, cyclone back up across him. It looks like this. I got all his feathers without touching the ground. So I uppercut, dive kick, and then cyclone to the left. Then now I can hit his head. 1, 2, 3. Fourth always comes from the left. I like to jump back up to the platform here. Now as he's coming down, you want to start a kick earlier than you normally would. And you want to kick 3 or 4 times. I would recommend kicking 4. And after the first kick, right after you press the button for the second kick, you want to turn left. So, kick, kick left, kick, kick, kick. And from the middle of the second kick motion onward, you should be holding left until you pass him and then turn around to get whatever you left behind. So let's start the fight again. So first phase. And if you happen to get everything with the uppercut and on the dive kick and the cyclone, if you get all of his feathers in one go like that and you don't have to catch something on the left side of him again, then the cyclone should also hit his head from the right side. That's a very, very fast phase. So 1, 2, 3, fourth is always on the left. Kick, kick left, kick, kick. And I missed a pedal, so I got to chase him down. The best thing to do here, he'll go to the right and be like between the first and second rockets, and you'll start a ball of electricity. And I would just run to the right and cyclone so that you move between the remaining feathers and his head. Let me show what that should look like. I always get disoriented a bit when I have to do a strat out of a pause. That's a lot easier to do than it looks like. It's a pretty forgiving trick. Okay, so kick, 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 kick. So you want to get a cyclone going between the feathers and his head, so that as soon as the feathers fall, his head does too. It's okay if you take a hit here. And whether or not, I found that generally, doesn't seem like it's every single time, but generally, whether he'll get a cyclone, or whether he'll get a whirlwind attack later in the fight, depends on how many of these attacks you let him get off. So if you're killing him every phase, before he can even get this electricity ball or something like that off, then he won't have an opportunity to do whirlwind. You've gone too fast, and he's got too many attacks lined up before the whirlwind. So 1, 2, 3. Notice that only his head will damage you. All the rest of his body is not going to hit you. See how I dropped like right behind his neck there, and I didn't get hit? Okay, after this, I'm starting the third phase now. Just as soon as he leaves, if you do the right timing, you'll see. See, I got it wrong. What I do here, now Alexi does something different here, and I'll explain that after I explain what I do. So let's see, uppercut, dive kick, cyclone, and kick. 2, 3, 4. Kick, kick left, kick, kick. See how I waited for him to come back to me? I went to the left because he was going to come left, and then I waited for his feathers and jumped so that I was even with him. Don't try to chase him down everywhere. Try to predict where he's going to go and be there, because that's what will get you. That's what will get you to your desired target. Okay, so 2, 3, fourth one, go up to the platform. Wait a bit. If I was slightly later there, I would have torn off 3 or 4 of his feathers with that boost. Alexi doesn't do that. He just sits, I think, on the right side of the first rocket on the left, and does an uppercut so that he chops off the very leftmost feather. So I think my strategy is probably faster just because of how many feathers I take off before the lasers start. But it doesn't really matter. Like if you were doing the laser, if you were tanking the lasers, you would sit about here on the rocket. The rocket's going to bob left and right. And then you want to uppercut just as the lasers are stopping and his feathers become vulnerable again. And then do the dive kick and cyclone, just like on phase 1. Just as soon as the lasers end, you should just be doing exactly what you did on phase 1, except I like to face to the left here and sit in the middle, because the rocket's movement seems to favor that more. But if you don't have the metal shield, what you should do instead is drop down, jump up, and now he's going to be going to the left to follow you. Turn around and do the uppercut from this side instead. And if I'd done that correctly, if I'd gotten the uppercut soon enough, it would have gone through all his feathers in a mirror image of what happens in phase 1. So there's a backup there. So if he does the laser spread, and you do not, when he does a laser spread, if you do not have metal shield, if you lost it from a ram or you lost it earlier in the stage or you fell and you didn't want to go back and pick it up, then when the lasers come, you just drop down to the left, jump back up when they stop, he'll be over to the left, uppercut, dive kick, cyclone to the left instead of the right, and that should work for you. One thing that I would like to recommend about this fight, this is actually a valuable strategy in quite a few places. Pausing to get your bearings. Because in-game time is what matters here, we like to discourage excessive pausing during for leaderboard submissions. Like if you have pauses all over the stage or a pause for like 30 minutes or something, we would decline it. We would reject your video. But if there's like a pause here or there to check a strat, those are totally okay. You just don't want them to be peppered everywhere through the video. So what you could do here is, let's see. Let me give an example. Okay, so I've paused here, and I know that his petals, his feathers, I keep calling them petals, his feathers are all destroyed, so his head is vulnerable, and I'm to the right of him and he's about to do an electricity orb. Pausing here allows me to see what he's about to do and react. So I was able to turn around and kick properly. You can do that a lot in this fight, and I would recommend, that's actually probably a good tool for practice, because the more you do that, the more, as long as you don't continue using that as a crutch, as long as you do some attempts without the pause scumming as well, you should be able to transfer the reactions that you have in using the pause method to see where he's going and adjust your motions when you unpause. You should be able to transfer that reading skill, the reading his movements, back to when you do a regular attempt without pausing. I recommend, of course, not pausing when you get good at this, just to make the fight look better. But that's something that's not just useful here, it's probably useful other places as well. Generally, where there's something unpredictable that you need to be able to read. Spade, you might use that for him as well. Maybe Serpentine for Fortune Knight. You don't want to rely too heavily on it because you want to be able to do the boss without it. You don't want to make it a crutch. But, you know, make it a method by which you can stair-step upward in learning. Make it a learning tool. There's plenty of things you can do to help yourself learn more effectively in this game. So let me just go over the whole fight. And I'll also try to show you what to do in the case of a whirlwind. One, two, three, 4, back up to the rocket. Kick, kick left, kick, kick, kick. He got off an electricity orb. 3, 4, center of the rocket. There we go. I got like 3 of them there, didn't I? Yep, I think I got 3. Don't have the metal shield, so go down left. He got another orb off, though. That's pretty bad. I have a high chance for wind later in the fight. Okay, fourth phase. Kick, 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 kick. He got off a third orb. Okay, so fourth, I think it's 3 orbs. I haven't really ever counted, but I feel like on the 5th phase, he is going to start with a whirlwind as soon as he comes down. So I want to kick him as soon as possible. Yep, he's going for whirlwind. Okay, so if he had any of his feathers left, what you'd do is you'd get very close to him on the side that you want to be on. Like about here. And then as he does the whirlwind, start holding left and roll boost diagonal up left. Oh, I went right through it. But what you would do is you'd face him, be very close to him, and do a roll boost. Like that. And hopefully you can catch some of his feathers. If you happen to be close enough, you can even catch his head. So even if he starts a whirlwind, it may not be the end of the world, but it is extremely hard. And you have to be in the right place at the right time to get these kind of hits in with the whirlwind. You cannot make up ground lost in the whirlwind. Like if he blows you further away, the only way to get closer to him is to do a horizontal dragon boost. A diagonal dragon boost won't cut it. So you could do a horizontal dragon boost, but then you're still on the ground and he's above you. So then you would have to jump onto a rocket, still be being pushed away from him, and maybe get a hit or two in. When he's in the whirlwind, he is very difficult to hit. If he's going for it, you see he's going for it, put everything you can into trying to get him damaged and off the screen before he does it. And the last thing about this boss that I have to mention, well, first of all, don't be anywhere near the edge of the screen. Like, you should be fighting him in the center. You should be fighting him on these rockets mostly. Don't go near the edges, or the whirlwind attack that he does could push you off the edge as well. If he does push you off the edge and you don't have like 0 health left, just restart. Don't wait to fall. If you're on like a full run attempt, just do the restart so that you can get back into the fray, because the result will be the same and you don't have to watch yourself fall. And then the last thing is this boss. See, I have 74. Okay, I'm using my highlights file there. I have not hit him to end the fight for a reason. This is one of the bosses that you cannot restart after you've landed the killing blow. So if you were on a high lives file, you'd have to hit F2 to restart the game before the next stage loads. And it also means that if you're practicing him and you get the final hit, you're going to have to start the stage over. So if you're practicing him, just go to the red phase, which is the 5th phase, where all his feathers are red, and either hit almost all of them or all of them, whichever you're more comfortable with, but don't hit the head. Just hit restart from there, because you really don't need practice on phase 5. You might need practice responding to whirlwinds, but those can happen in earlier phases if you're slower as well, and you should be slower at first. Like, these are difficult strats. So, and there's not a whole lot of alternative strats to this guy. This is really all that you should be doing. That and learning how to read his motions and be where he is going to be rather than where he is right now. Chasing him like, you know, how a sniper would lead on a target. You want to be leading on him so that you're being where he's going to be. You're moving to where he's going to be, not where he's currently at. And that's really all I had to say about Sky Battalion. Let's get one quick run through of the stage, just to recap. Roll boost, jump, cyclone, or you could do the dive kick and then cyclone. Cyclone, cancel, roll boost. If you go that high, hold down. If you're holding down on the D-pad, you will not grab a hang bar. So instead of latching onto that hang bar and then having to drop from it, you'll just drop right through it. See how I got caught by the basket there, so I fell a bit slower into the chute. Not really a huge deal, but it is a small factor. Let me try that bounce again. Don't jump as high as I jumped there when you do your boost. That was really dangerous. I could have got caught by the laser. You can boost out of the laser if you have full meter, but it will give you some damage and it will take a little more time, and you can't use it like immediately. For some reason you have to wait a little bit before you can use it. Just hold down the special button and you will use it as soon as Lilac is able to. Side, jump off and dive kick. Ah. High uppercut followed by boost. With the backup strats mentioned, where you can turn around and try to get him going the other way. Kick, boost against the thing. Small hop. Roll boost. Dive kick under the mines. Dive kick again. See how I missed that flame there? It wasn't quite quick enough to get under that flame though. Just get the door enough. This flame up here, if you're just as fast as possible, you can get under it before it hits you. If you are slightly slower, you will take a hit from it. There's just no way around that. Wasn't quite high enough, so I didn't get the other side. Okay, that was a pretty good spade fight. Missed the shield, so I had to go back and kick it. Cyclone up here, cancel early, dive kick again, cyclone up to this hill. I boosted a little too far to the right. I wouldn't have hit that spring anyway. Crystals were also in my way. Turn around a little bit, drop through here. Did you hear the sound? I did take a hit to my metal shield there. So I now need to be careful that I don't lose it. The metal shield will also make you invincible to the electric ball attacks of the last mini-boss, but you will not be invincible to the crystals that come out of the ground when he shoots his crystal into the floor, so beware of those. That's a very common place. I'll point it out in a moment. Very common place to lose your metal shield is there. Looks like I'm going top route, so down left. Yeah, I'm going to do the easy strat here. Managed not to lose my metal shield, so now that I'm on the boss, we'll hop there. You could also do a cyclone. I have a metal shield. Very good first phase. You can grab some health here if you need it. 4. Kick, kick left, kick, kick, kick. Ah, okay. Be where he's going to be. I still only got one attack there, so I responded correctly after I made those mistakes. 4. Nice. I can sit in the middle because I have the metal shield. Got it with the same strat as the first phase. 3, 4. Now phases 4 and 5 are both just like 2. Kick, kick left, kick, kick, kick. Managed to stop him from getting an attack off, which is very nice. That means I'm probably not going to get wind here. Oh, he's going for wind. Oh, I was able to get the feather, but I couldn't get his head. Alright, so there's the 408. I'm going to level with you here. Getting a sub 4 in this stage is really hard when you first start out. Getting a sub 4 is really not an achievable goal when you first start out. I would shoot for under 430 when you're first learning the stage, and then under 415. And then eventually, when you feel really comfortable with the stage, maybe shoot for a sub 4. Sub 4 is really difficult, and one of the reasons is that Dale, or Thunderbird, I like to call him Thunderbird, the mount that he's sitting on, or Cyber Peacock, or whatever you want to call him. He is a major... He's kind of like Mantilith. He's not as bad as Mantilith. I think he's easier when you first start out than Mantilith is when you first start out. There's a lot less to think about. The phases are pretty simple. They're just kind of tight on the timing. So that's going to be really your big variable when you're learning this stage, is the boss. It's pretty much for most stages, it's going to be the boss is the variable as to whether you get a good time or a bad time. But definitely take full advantage. This is the only stage where you can start a third or two-thirds of the way through the stage from the start, from the stage select menu. Because it's split up into 3 different ships. You don't have that advantage in other stages. Take full advantage of it here. So practice like Metal Ship for a while, and then switch and practice Fire Ship for a while, and then practice Earth Ship, and then sit on the boss for a while. I've seen a lot of people that have been learning the stages practice the entire stage, and that's you do need some of that. You do need to be practicing the full stage so that you get everything chained together. But more important when you're starting out is to practice details. Practice the tricks that are giving you trouble. Sit there and just do it over and over, like 20, 30 times. Or more if you feel like it. Like, I've been learning a trick in Fortune Knight that is fairly new, and it is incredibly hard. And I have attempted it around 1,000 times. Like, not even kidding. I know that because I use my 98 lives file, and I have consumed all the lives in that file about 10 times by now, doing this one trick. And the first day doing that trick, I practiced it probably 300, 400 times, and I got it maybe 10 times out of those 300, 400 attempts. Not every trick is going to be like that, obviously. This is a really difficult one, and it's at the very top end of the game. It's the hardest of the hard. But the same principle applies. Like, when you start practicing a strat, you will get it 1 time out of 10, and then the next 10 times you'll get it 2 times. The next 10 times you'll get it 4 times, and then you'll start understanding it more, and you'll start getting a feel for it and building the muscle memory that's necessary to do these things, these complicated, precise tricks consistently. Muscle memory is how your fingers, musicians get this a lot, where your fingers are doing the things automatically. Your brain no longer has to attend to what your hands are doing. And muscle memory is strong enough that a lot of people in the speedrunning community can get tricks that require down to like a 30th of a second precision and get them almost every time, because muscle memory is that strong. So building repetition, building on success. A very common phrase people hear is, practice makes perfect. That is not true. Practice establishes habit. Practice takes what you are doing and puts it into your muscle memory and your mind. And if you continue making those mistakes, then what you are training yourself to do, what you are practicing, is the mistakes. So it's important to know why you made a mistake so that you can go back and not make that same mistake again. Like if you dive kicked early, or if you cycloned late, or something like that. Make sure you're diagnosing your mistakes and going back and trying to correct them, and then practicing the correct way over and over and over and over, so that you are reinforcing the correct way. So practice does not make perfect. perfect practice makes perfect. Practice itself only makes habit. So make sure that you are correcting bad habits early and trying to spot why you're making mistakes and not just accepting the mistakes and moving on. Okay, so this video is pretty much over. Jade Creek will be coming soon. Jade Creek is going to be a blast. It is my favorite stage, easily. There's so many cool tricks and it's so much fun to run. Hope you enjoy Sky Battalion. I hope this stage doesn't give you too much trouble, and I hope you really enjoy the game as always. And make sure you're telling other people about these videos and spreading the word and getting more people into this, because the more people we have in the speedrunning scene for this, the better the game will get. The more eyes we have on the game, the more tricks will be found, and the better everyone will get at the game. Be able to help each other and encourage each other. So, have a great night, and see you in the next video.